Good morning. I'm Walt Bartman. I'm the founder and director of the Yellow Barn Studio, Glen Echo, and we do these interviews of our instructors so that you can get to know them. And I think today we have Dipali Rabadiya, and
Yes.
she's here to discuss. She's a new instructor, and she's here to discuss how she approaches her teaching. She's going to give you a great uh, examples of her work that you're going to be able to look at, and we're going to discuss a little bit. But more than anything, it's going to be, an interview so that you, if you're looking to study with somebody who's really exceptional as a teacher, and DePauli is, you're going to see that this is who you should study with. So, good morning, DePauli.
Good morning, Mr. Bartman. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm super excited to do this interview today. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a important interview. I think we've been doing them. So if anything, at the Yellow Barn, one of the things I want everybody to understand is that we really hire the best. And the Polly is joining us, and she's been teaching for about a year now for the Yellow Barn Studio, and she's offering classes here this coming winter. But she'll be on our as part of our faculty during the different terms. And I think, you all you have to do is go to the yellowbarnstudio.com website to find her. All right. So, the Paulie, maybe just to kind of start a little bit, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. So I grew up in India with a loving family. I moved to America 20 years ago in 2002, and I graduated in a master's in business administration with the marketing degree. When I moved to America, I was working in New York City, Los Angeles, San Diego, in a corporate world. But even when I was a child, like I always wanted to be an artist, but I couldn't do the art degree because, always family thinks like I wouldn't be able to survive. So instead of art school, I went to business school, and probably that helped me when I moved here. But my goal to become an artist never, vanished or anything. When I came here, I started taking community college classes for bachelor's in fine art degree. So wherever I moved, I took those classes, and then I was working on my bachelor's in fine art degree, and having my second son coming, I had to quit the degree, but that didn't stop me there. I started doing like a small paintings daily, and like when my kids went to school, I started doing like a small little paintings every day. I joined the daily paintwork movement, which was started by, I think, Carol Marine, I think around 2012. And there was another artist, Juan Kaiser, or I couldn't pronounce his name. So I saw them on website, and I saw them like, they're doing small works and posting them online, blogging them. So which is very important. And that's what I did. I wasn't doing every day, but I was doing probably once or twice a day starting from 2012 2013. And then eventually, I saw that it's improving, and I started doing it more and more. And then I found some local art galleries, and like art studios where they were looking for teaching opportunity. So I was hired by Latrobe Art Center and the Greensburg Art Center in Pennsylvania, like suburb of Pittsburgh. So I was teaching there, and which is very, very important to me. I think teaching somebody is also teaching me how to do my work, and I'm also learning at the same time when I'm interacting with the other people. So I think that's pretty much me, like starting from business to art school and going from there.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how people, find themselves in their careers. I think, I started in engineering. A number of our instructors were lawyers. I mean, it's interesting the fact that we have such a quality group of people. But truthfully, it speaks of the high caliber people that we have. That people, studying with you will respect you for all that you've achieved. I think one of the things about your painting, and what I particularly like about it, is it's beautifully as far as the technique is concerned. It's beautifully handled, and I think the color is really what I feel is really fresh and quite exciting. So just a little bit more about yourself. What's your work about?
So I would talk about my technique, like how I come up with when I joined Daily Paintworks Movement. The website was started by Carol Marine and her husband David. She's a alla prima painter, and I saw her work so refreshing and so fresh, and so I saw her work and I started doing the same work because I really loved it, like loose and spontaneous brush marks. So I started doing it, and my painting technique is basically alla prima, like all at once, wet on wet. I it's on a base regular ordinary object like fruits and vegetables and cups and plates, and nothing out of the ordinary, like simple landscape, like I go outside and paint. So those are my basic subject matter. And alla prima is good because I paint small, like around 6 by 6, 6 by 8 inches. And because having a small children, it's already important to paint small. Like I start and finish at the same time within like 1.5 hours. So that's pretty much. And I don't use a lot of colors. I have a limited palette. So that also teaches me how to utilize my palette, and also makes me understand how these colors work rather than having a full spectrum of colors. And now that I know what I'm doing, I can have like a guest color, sometime once in a while, like I'll add maybe like one more color. But usually I start with 10 tubes of color, and my process remains the same from start to end. That's my technique.
Okay, well, so what we're going to do now is we'll go take a look at the work and discuss it a little bit. All right, and we'll this way people will get to know you and your work, particularly by looking at it. So here we go. We're going to go to the screen here. I'm going to share the screen. You're seeing the PowerPoint right now, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to play from the current slide. So, if for everyone here, if you decide you want to study with Dipali, all right, I think you can go to the allbarnstudio.com website. And what classes are you teaching usually during the week?
Like I'm starting in January 19th, and it's I think on Tuesday and Thursday. So I have 2 classes set up for January 19th and January 24th. So my classes are like alla prima, still life and landscape oil painting. I want to teach my technique, like alla prima technique, and that's what I'm mostly excited about.
What days of the week and times are there?
It's I think on Tuesday it's 10 actually 1 to 3:30, and on Thursday I think it's 10 to 12:30.
Okay, and they're both similar classes, or are they different?
They're pretty much similar classes, but one of them has like 10 classes and the other one has 8. So I think it's the number of classes are different. So, but otherwise, mostly it's the same thing. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a great example. And this is a very wonderful painting here. I think we're gonna start with this one because from I really enjoy the freshness of this painting, but I also like the feeling of the atmosphere that you create here, the sunlight. You were talking about being in the Pittsburgh area. I grew up in Pittsburgh, so I don't know if you know that or not, but these buildings seem similar to the Pittsburgh buildings that I know. All right. So maybe you can speak about this one.
So this painting, like, when we used to live in a suburb of Pittsburgh. So when I'm free, my kids are gone to school, I would just go downtown Greensburg, and they have a lot of beautiful old homes. They have so beautiful character to it. I take pictures, I come home and I paint them. So these 2 houses are in the downtown Greensburg area. It was a beautiful sunny day, and I thought it's fantastic. So I came home and I painted them, and here we are. Like it's so unique. I mean, it's so unique in a style is very unique. The atmosphere, the housing shutters, everything is so pretty.
Yeah,
That's what.
I think you really capture this subject well, and I believe it is the daylight. I think, which I think when I look at this particular piece, really is inspiring the way you've handled and mixed the colors. Are there anything you want to say about this painting as far as when you were painting it? Anything that you remember that's unique about it?
No, I mean, I have a bunch of photos of these, especially like these small houses, and they have such a beautiful character. And I think I like that, especially that yellow home, which, so bright and saturated colors. And that's my most exciting thing. I like to keep my colors loose and fresh. So when I'm painting these houses or any other objects, I always paint those saturated colors first. In this case, I painted these probably like these orange yellow colors, and then I go around all the unsaturated colors. So I think I'm mostly excited about that yellow house in this painting.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous painting. I think just when we discuss your work here, one of the things I want everybody to notice is how fresh everything feels. And I think that's one of the unique attributes of your work. But one of the other things I want everybody to understand about the instructors at the Yellow Barn, everyone that I choose comes with something unique. And with Dipali, she really did impress me, with her hard work and her skill. So I think that this is one of the things that she can pass on to you, and she is an outstanding teacher. Just so you know that. So here's another one. You want to discuss this one?
Oh, yes. This is a beautiful painting. So when I'm on vacation with my family, I take a bunch of photos just like everybody else. This is probably in Hawaii, like Lahaina, Hawaii. We were on vacation. I took a photo, and I have a larger version of this painting, which is about like 12 by 24. I had that in the show, like that instructor show last month or a month ago, 2 months ago. I really like when I'm painting, I'm not seeing like a boat. I'm seeing the shapes, and I'm seeing the colors, and those kind of thing. I'm looking at the edges, how the edges in the background is fading. I mean, you can tell there's some boats in the background, but it's not that specific as the front boats. I love the reflection of it, and it's such a wonderful painting, and I love to paint those boats as much as I can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if you're in Hawaii, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
The the thing that I want to ask you now is you mentioned working from the photo.
Mhm.
Is that mostly how you work, or how?
No, mostly I work from observation. I have a studio in my house. I have the whole setup, my still life setup, as well as sometimes, when I'm painting like landscape, I refer these photos. But it's not like even when I'm painting from photo, it's not like exactly the same. I use my own instinct, I use my own variety of colors and brush marks and all that stuff. So it's even if it's from photo, it's not exactly the same. And
Yeah,
I like to paint from observation. That's
yeah.
my favorite thing. Yeah.
Well, this is it. I think that when I looked at the first one and then this one,
Yeah.
they have the feeling of being there. I mean, it takes a good memory to begin with, to work an idea like this. But then, of course, the photo helps to, if you have any questions about things as far as arrangement, composition, so on. But I think the freshness of your paint, really speaks of being in the present. And I think, being on site. And even when you're working from the photo, I think you communicate that well. So the next one, I put these together because they're similar subjects, and maybe perhaps you can speak to this one.
Okay, so this one is like a value study of my color painting. One of my favorite thing to do is, as an artist, is like paint with black and white, or draw with pencil, or Prismacolor markers. That's before, when I'm painting plein air, I have this small sketchbook, and I do like a thumbnail sketches of of a subject in a black and white marker to see how my composition is going to look. So this is a 8x8 painting, and this is like a value study for my actual painting. This painting was done when I was taking a workshop with Jennifer McChristian at the Chesapeake Bay Fine Art Studio. And I use like 4 value here, using just black and white color. And I mean, it's just very limited brush marks, like it's not a lot of detailed work, but how fresh and how bold that looks. That's what I was trying to capture, even if it's a value study. Yeah.
And was this from photo as well?
No, this was done on spot,
On
on
this,
location.
okay.
Yeah.
So this is it, and yeah, you can see your fresh technique. I mean, one of the things is that you make a mark on your canvas, and you kind of live with it. I mean, I'm looking at these strokes, and of course, you're not going back and reevaluating them. You really, I think you really capture the immediacy in an accurate way, which I think is really quite interesting. Okay, so then the next one we're going to go to, and I think these are, when I think of you particularly as a still life painter. I don't know if that's how you want to be thought about, but maybe you can discuss that.
So this was done like earlier times. Like, I mean, you can see details in my sunflowers. Like, you can see like small brush marks on the sunflowers in the background also. That's how when I started painting, I was like, trying to, just like everybody else, like, oh, like I want to put that small details to it, but I also want to keep it nice and fresh. This was a larger painting, probably like 10 by 10 inches or 12 by 12. And I mean, this painting also won a award at the Latrobe Art Center show. So basically I just play with the object and see how it looks. So,
Yeah, the interesting thing here, again, we keep touching on the word freshness, but I think that's one of the things that you bring in to your work, and it has a lot to do with the brush and how you handle the brush. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I don't use, just like my colors, I don't use a lot of brush either, and I use a bright synthetic brush, size 4, 6, and 8, and number 2 for drawing. And my drawing is not like really detailed, it's just the generic shapes when I start painting. So I just ground my canvas, and then I look at the composition with my viewfinder, and I just do a generic shapes, and then it's more like a representational art. I'm painting what I'm seeing. And what I am excited about is these value change. I mean, value remains the same, but the colors are different. Like if you look at these cups, on the top cups, like that yellow reflected light on the cup from the sunflower, and the similar value but different color, that's excites me. When I'm mixing colors, it's so satisfying to see how your color is going to change on your palette, and how you can put those colors like warm and cool next to each other on your paintings. That is very exciting, and I think you can see that in my painting as well.
Yeah, I think your brushwork, when we talk in terms of artists and perhaps maybe what their strengths are, one of the things that I see with you is the expressive brushstroke. I think you can feel how you build the idea. You build it with brushstroke, and I think that's a strong statement and a signature, I think, of your work. This is a beautiful painting. The next, this is I guess a start, and
yes,
you can kind of speak to how you work.
Yeah, so same thing, like, see, we saw that other sunflower compared to that sunflower. This is more like a loose brush marks. Like you can compare, the previous sunflower was done probably like 6-7 years ago, and this one was done like 6 months ago. So my style has changed a little bit. I don't know how much, but you can definitely see my brush marks are changing. My spontaneous brush marks are improving, like I'm trying to make bold brush marks. So this was like it's early stages of the painting. And when I'm painting, I always start with the saturated color. In this case, is the orange sunflowers and these white highlight on the teddy bear and the apples, and then I go from the saturated to desaturated because I want to keep my colors nice and fresh. If I start painting a dull color first, I'm afraid to lose that saturations. I don't want to get my colors muddy, or I want to keep them fresh. That's what I mean.
The yeah, this one of the things when we look at your work, and again, it is the brush, and I think and the touch, and I think you bring that through in your work. It's something I'm sure you're going to teach your students. Right. Anyone who's looking at this video is going to think about, well, do I need to really loosen up? And I think that you have that ability to do that. But then again, you have this ability to make things very descriptive if you want to. This is an interesting piece because of its composition, shape of the rectangle, the play of color combinations, I think also work really well here. So let us know what you did.
Okay. So like you said, like in my students, I can teach those things. That's a very good question. When I did the boot camp with the Yellow Barn, I think in summer, and my boot camp is like a flagship of my painting. I teach them we do small studies of value study, color mixing, color harmony, like edges. We do a lot of small studies with the students. And at the end of the class, it was a 2-day program, and the second day, by the end of the program, we did a full-size painting, so they will have a full understanding of how everything works. Even if they don't paint with oil paint, just like I do, they can apply those knowledge to probably gouache or water media or any other media, basically. So and I teach them, and I also do a small demo while I'm teaching them. I'll show them like where I start and finish, and so they kind of get the knowledge of that.
Yeah. So you mentioned boot camp. This was a kind of a workshop that you gave during the summer. Are you planning to do any more of those kinds of things?
It's not. I'm not doing it in January. I think it's spring. No, not spring. Fall program. I don't remember. I think in May or June. I'm also teaching plein air sketching in May or June. So I'll have more classes in summer, I think. Yeah.
Oh, good. So that'll give people who are watching this video an understanding of the variety of classes, but then also that you will be teaching in the summer. I think are your classes for all levels of students?
It is for all level of students. So like I would say boot camp is for the beginners, they want to learn the basics. But even if you are a new student or intermediate or advanced, you can take my classes. In each class, I discuss perspective, composition, edges, value study. We do all those things in each classes. I do my own setup. I bring my own objects from home, and I do my own setup in the class. And I highly encourage my students to do a thumbnail sketches before they start the actual painting. So we go through a lot of things for 8 to 10 classes. That's great for my students.
And when you're teaching your students, what is it that you want them to achieve? Are you what is it that you like to focus on the most, and perhaps maybe when they leave your class, what are they leaving with?
So first class, we will do value study, and I will see instantly, if somebody next to you painting to you, you will know their ability to paint and draw. You will understand where they stand, right? And my teaching will be focusing. I like to teach one-on-one. Like I don't have a lot of students. I like to keep my students limited to 10. So I do my demo and they do their painting, and I go like around my students and see how they're progressing and stuff like that. And at the end of the class, I want them to have a better understanding of my alla prima technique, how color mixing works, how they're going to do composition, how they're going to have these edges pass by. So I want them to have a better understanding of how painting works, and not just oil painting, with any media they can actually paint, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting approach, and I think a very good approach for anyone who's really wanting to learn to work with color and really understand the techniques. I think that you show here as being I mean, this is one of the strengths of your work. Okay, so is there anything about this particular painting that you can say before we move on? Because I really like this painting and wonder how you came up with the idea.
I don't know. So these props, like, in any painting, if you see these props, I go to the Goodwill, like, thrift store, and buy these cups. I love to paint the cups, cups and plates and bowls and stuff. And in this particular painting, you see like her color harmony. I think that's the most exciting thing. These cool colors, these blue and purple and green, those are cool colors, are very attracted to this yellow yolk here. So I think that's what it's about, color harmony.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I think speaks strongly in your work, and anyone who would study with you would be able to get that kind of direction, which I think would really help with their work. The next one, and I'm looking at these. I'm going to ask you one question before we talk about this one, and that is, do you have any favorite artists, or do you have?
Yes. My all-time favorite artist is Carol Marine. She's amazing, and what I'm doing is by Carol Marine. Like, when I saw her website, when I started Daily Paintwork Moments, it's all Carol Marine. I have her books, and all these years I have done a couple of workshops with Kevin McPherson, Jennifer McChristian, Kwang Huang. So I have some of those. Haiti Jo Summer, she lives in England, and I'm following them on Instagram, and I'm seeing how amazing their works are. Like, so those are my favorite artists. Yeah, living artists today.
Okay. There's a lot of Wayne Thiebaud in a way as well, in the subject and the repetition and that. And I wondered if you were familiar with his work, but
yes.
So I see that. Want to speak to this one?
Yeah, so, like, I like to paint like holiday scenes, and this one was done before this year Christmas, like 2022. And I like to play with things like, I put the candies and Christmas ornament and see how these lights perceive. And I mean, I don't use a lot of colors. You can see, like very bold brush marks. And I love the reflections on the ornament, which is I'm mostly excited about. That's about it, I think. And this is a small piece. It's a 6 by 6 inches on ampersand gesso board, which is my favorite surface to paint on.
Your classes are on site.
Yes, they are on site at the Yellow Barn studio.
Right. So you're going to, those of you that are going to sign up for Dipali's classes, you're going to work in the studio, and, we're going to work in a small, number of students. So you're going to get individual attention. And I think that's really important in learning how to paint. So then the next one.
Yes, this one is so pretty. I love these, the green bowl and the spoon, and it's mostly about the shapes, how my brush mark is showing. I'm just, even like this was done like probably 10 years ago, but it's still so fresh and nice looking, and it's a simple subject, like a pears, like, so, and it's probably like 5 by 7 inches. My work is really small compared to other artists.
Yeah, here you can see the brushstroke, and definitely the that freshness is still there. And that's one of the things about an artist that paints that's fresh as you do, and that is that the work seems to just have been created. That's
Yeah.
one of the things about fresh brushing. So the transparencies are very interesting. You want to
Yeah.
speak about those, because I noticed in a number of them that you are working with transparencies.
Yeah, so I think it's basically what kind of colors I use. I have a split primary, split complementary color palette, which is like a warm and a cool yellow, warm and cool red, and a blue. And one of the blue is like phthalo blue mixed with cadmium yellow light, which gives you like a really nice green here. And when you say transparency, I mean I'm not looking at the object. When I'm painting, I'm not looking at the spoon. I'm just seeing the colors and its shapes, and that excites me. um and I think it's just fabulous piece.
Okay, so you talked about the green. So this green is not a green out of the tube. It's essentially made with two colors.
All my colors, I never ever paint out of straight out of the tube. I always have a mix.
Mhm.
I always mix my colors, and again, I said like limited palette really helped me achieve these colors, and understands the color better. So yeah.
Yeah, none of your colors feel muddy. I mean, they really do have a wonderful vibration to them. And I
Yeah.
think that's the other thing that I see with your work, that you understand the compliments, definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a very strong element in your work.
Yes.
You don't see yourself, you're essentially see yourself as a colorist, I would think, right?
Yeah, I love like it's so satisfying when I'm mixing colors on my palette, and I love to mix colors, and I always, even in my classroom, students, I went to the hardware store and got those color swatches, those paint swatches
Mhm,
from the
mhm.
hardware store for the wall paint. And I asked them to mix those colors. So when they were mixing those cards, they were so accurate. And but when they were actually painting the painting, they were like, oh, this is hard. Because there are so many more colors in the painting than just that one particular card. But
Yeah.
it takes a practice. Color is a journey. Color mixing is a journey. The more you paint, the better you become. So I strongly believe that practice, any skill you practice, you get better at it.
Yeah, and this is when I look at what you're doing, and this is the kind of thing that impressed me about your work. So I'm glad to have you as a member of our faculty. This is a little bit more complex. This isn't as much about color as it is about, and this is interesting because of all the pieces. This is one that's strongly descriptive. All right,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
is when we talk in terms of the color properties, we're not necessarily responding to the colors as much as we are to the value in this particular painting. And
Yeah.
you might discuss this one.
So I love to paint stand mixer. It's so unique in shapes and colors, and it's the gray. I have a gray one, so all the reflections happening in the bowl and the stand mixer. It's amazing. Um, and again, that cool colors are fighting against the warm color, that egg yolk, and that on the left corner, that what is this, like baking powder box or something. And
Mhm.
I see all these color bouncing on each other. I think that is so exciting. And yeah, I did this setup in my table tennis for my kids, and had them for a week, and they hated me for it. um, I didn't even let them move a thing. And I started doing, this is a large painting, so, and I'm super excited about this. Yes.
Yeah, and when you're talking about a large, how large is this painting?
I it's not large as you paint, but it's about, I think, 14 by 16.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're someone who paints. It's important for everyone to understand. As an alla prima painter, I think a lot of alla prima painters, the reason that they work so small is because it's easier to finish quickly.
Yes.
And I think that that's one of the the characteristics. But looking at your work, color is important. Your drawing skills are good. I think
Yeah.
this is one of the things that, do you want to speak to the drawing at all here?
Yeah. Drawing, I think drawing is the very essential thing for any artist. I think if you have that drawing, like contour drawing or gesture drawing or any drawing skill that you have, and you keep drawing it, if you keep practicing, you get better and better. And I think drawing also helps you paint better because you are seeing the values, happening within the colors. So um, even for this painting, this is very complex. There's so many elements to it. My drawing was very basic. I wish I can show you the photo of my drawing for this painting, but it's such a basic shapes. And even for this pepper shaker right here next to the egg yolk, I mean, it's just colors. When you go close to it, is you just see the shapes and its colors.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, and I think we're talking about is just looking in an area like right here and seeing the pattern of shape and color, and how being as accurate as you are can communicate the fact that you're looking through a glass bowl.
yes.
I think that's or that you have a reflection, which I think is another unique idea here. Okay, so then I think this is the last one that we're going to be talking about. I saved it to last. It's probably your kitty. I have a feeling. I'm not sure.
No,
No.
I have a dog actually.
Okay.
Yeah, and we are a dog lover, and we also like cats. But
Yeah.
yeah, this one was from a friend's photo, and this was painted with the gouache. Like gouache colors are so opaque, and it kind of works with like oil instead of media. You use water media. So this one was painted on ampersand aqua board, and this is a gouache painting. So I really, really like how loose and fun colors are happening here. Like within the eyes, there's that blue popping in, and the background, everything is so fancy.
Yeah, this is when we look at the technique, the reason I really wanted to speak to this one at the end is that this one shows, I think those of you that are looking at this video, an idea of how Dipali kind of paints planarly with, she mentioned earlier, she's just using mostly brights, okay, which are, a square brush. And you can see the repetition of her touch, but you can see that, she does a lot of layering. And I think this one, it shows the different layers. So I think, when you're studying with her, I would imagine that, you're going to learn a lot about using the brush this way, which I think is a really strong way of painting. It's, when we talk in terms of planular painters, do you see yourself as a planular painter?
I think I do. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, here you can see how you construct the dimension of the head just with the direction of the brush strokes. And I think that that's also not only the color, but then the use of that brush stroke in a way that creates textures and that as well. Well, with that, I think we're getting close to the end of the interview. All right, I think the thing that I'm going to just remove this for a second. The last questions that I want to ask you are, what do you think when you in your teaching, students, this is the last opportunity to kind of discuss what is it, if someone is looking for a painting teacher, why they would choose you?
Why they would choose me? So again, like I have done, I was a student. I did workshops with other artists, and I have seen other students struggle about color mixing and how to paint and how to use your brush marks and how to sculpt with your brush marks. And when I teach, I see those problems within my students. So I want to teach them what I struggled with, like what I had a problem with. And I want them to understand how to fix those problems. Like, if you don't know certain things, but as soon as you learn, you're like flying, so I want them to have a better understanding how painting works, how they can, even if everybody has their unique style. I'm not saying that they're going to change their style. I'm saying if they don't know certain things, they can improve or they can get better at it.
Right. Well, this is really great, because I think that, those of you that are watching this video, keep in mind that if you choose to study with Dipali, you're going to get some really strong, the basis for really making good, strong paintings. And I think this is one of the things that I feel she brings to her work, and in a unique way, but a very easy way for people to learn. All right. I think that
Yes.
it's not like this is a complex thing. You look at the way she's managed to achieve what she's done, and I feel she's going to pass that on to you. So with that, I want to say I really appreciate your taking the time to have this interview. All right, Dipali.
Thank you so much. I was so excited for today.
Yeah, and I think that for all of you, if you're interested in taking Dipali's classes, all right, go to the yellowbarnstudio.com website, and you'll find her there. And as we said, our classes are enrolling, so it's really good for you to sign up, especially with the fact that those classes are limited to 10 students. All right, with that, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, and I want to thank everyone for watching this video. And I hope to see you at the Yellow Barn.